morning to Kenyan citizens. I hope your morning is well and kind to you as well. It is on a Wednesday, that is the 5th of November 2025. Karibu sana. This is the current affairs segment, your trusted source for the latest news, insightful discussions, and impactful stories shaping our nation and beyond. Well, I'm Angela Kabete, and today we'll dive into what has been happening and uncover the truth behind the news that is in detail. So make sure that you stay tuned as we break it down right here, right now. Still, you can get to interact with us on our social media handles, that is on Facebook and YouTube at Mizpah Tv Kenya, hashtag the NURU current affairs. Tell us, unatutazama ukiwa wapi? You can opt to use our WhatsApp number as well, that is 0799 200 100, and we're so glad to hear from you. But before anything else, it is always our norm to give you a viewer that is the verse of the day, an encouragement for you to keep moving. And today's verse comes from, that is Psalms 73, verse 26, and this is what it says. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. So the verse of today starts by saying, my flesh and my heart may fail. It means that our bodies may get tired, our hearts at some point, because of situations, because of difficulties, difficult moments, desperate situations. Our hearts sometimes may be discouraged. Sometimes we may feel overwhelmed, disappointed, and broken. Kwa hivyo inaleta that aspect here, human strength is limited. No matter how strong we think we are, no matter how strong and courageous we are, we need God. And then it continues and says, but God is the strength of my heart. It means that God is the true source of our strength. When our hearts runs out, God becomes our strength. He gives us the power to endure the difficult moments. Zile zenye unasema, hey, hapa kama si Mungu singetoboa. I believe you can resonate, you can relate with that statement. It means that God gives us the peace to keep on moving with life, and also He gives us the comfort and the strength to stand again even after failing. And then it continues and say, the strength of my heart and my portion forever. It means that God is our eternal portion. Portion means that God is our inheritance. The reward of satisfaction comes from God. It means that if everything else is taken away, still God remains to be enough. That is the verse of the day. So it means that you as a viewer, make sure that you rely on God each and every day, because our encouragement comes from God. He's the true source. Each and every moment that you feel desperate, wewe ukimbilia nani when things are not working out? Who's that person that you call? Your friends or God? Because the verse of today is reminding us that God is the strength of our hearts and our portion forever. And that is the verse of the day. And now let's head over to what has been happening, because each and every day there are new stories, and it is our responsibility to make sure that you as a Kenyan citizen, you stay updated of what is happening. I have the Daily Nation, and on the Daily Nation I'll be checking that is matters to do with human interest, economy and business, education sector, security and crime. And now on the Standard specifically, we'll be checking international matters outside our country, and that is Tanzania. Let me start by asking you, what happens when the government believes outsiders are interfering with its internal politics? This question that has now taken center stage in Tanzania as President Samia Suluhu launches a crackdown that is sending shockwaves across the region. That is the top story on today's Standard, and I can see here there is a picture of that is the president of Tanzania. Samia Suluhu. And they call it revenge. They say Tanzania has unleashed a ruthless crackdown on foreigners innocently accused of stalking post-election violence, with police and soldiers raiding lodgings, tightening borders, and detaining East Africans without cause. Could this be a way of the Tanzania government running away from its responsibility, making sure that the country is stable? Or could this be true? And if it's true, why is it happening specifically in Tanzania? In addition to that, they say that the directive issued from police headquarters, that is late Monday, and has sent shockwaves through the hospitality sector and triggered fear among Kenyans living in the country. What happened to that slogan that we used to say, peace be among, that is the East African community, the East African country, umoja, ushirikiano, and utangamano. Tanzania is a country, and is part of that is the East Africa community. What is happening to that slogan? Can you say ni kuisha imeisha? Ama time will come and it will rise again. And I can see here that is on the Standard. They have quoted that is a statement from the president of Tanzania, that is Samia Suluhu. And let me quote for you what exactly she said. Sikushtuka kuona watu waliotoka nchi jirani na kuanza vita humu nchini mwetu. Nitawatafuta kila mmoja wenu na mtajua mimi ndiye amri jeshi kuu Simba. Mimi ndiye amri jeshi kuu na Simba jike. Is this a way of her bringing the act of being a leader in the Tanzania country? Is this a caution, to those people who are living in Tanzania? And I can see here their police wanashika watu. So according to this statement, you as a Kenyan citizen, or you as a Tanzanian citizen, what do you think about this statement that has been given out by that is the president of Tanzania? And to those who don't understand why this is happening, let me take you back. In Tanzania, kumekuwa na that is protest, maandamano, and some of the reports that have been released that is on social media, some of them say that approximately 700 people have been killed, some of them injured. But the figures that I've mentioned are coming from that is the opposition party in Tanzania, and also that is the leader of the opposition party, that is Tundu Lissu, who took Tundu Lissu of Chadema party. These are claims from them, not from the Tanzanian party government, because don't forget that kulikwana, that is internet and communication blackouts were hampered with. So there are no figures, approximate figures that can be released to say that this in this, how ndio watu wenye wamefariki, these are the people that have been injured. And kumekuwa na that is protest, as I was telling you, because the opposition party of Tanzania believes that the elections were unfair, controlled, not democratic, and people's votes were not respected. Samia Suluhu won by that is 31.5 million votes in Tanzania. Interestingly, if you can compare with the late Magufuli, he won by that is 12.5 million votes to become the president of Tanzania. So that 1.5 million votes inaonyesha that most of the wananchi in Tanzania walijitokeza kwa wengi. They went and voted for her to be the president. But now the protests that tumekuwa tukiona, it's because of the opposition party. They believe the elections were not fair. And now that is matters to do with Tanzania, and they're saying that story is on page 6 and 7. Briefly, we'll check it out, then we come back home. Mambo ambayo tunaelewa. So I can see here they're saying that page 6, a blood aftermath. Tanzania election clampdown now targets foreigners. Well, the foreigners, Kenyans, you're part of the foreigners, okay? And they say that they mention a lot of things, and there is something that has been quoted here. Police are under firm instruction not to allow Kenyans to cross over, and now we have nothing to feed our families since we're not getting goods from the other side. So this means that this will also affect, that is, the interrelationship between Tanzania and Kenya when it comes to trade itself. And they say that that now we have nothing to feed our families, and since we are not getting goods from the other side. This is a statement that has been released from Namanga Trader. Now, what will really happen? Should the Tanzanian government find a solution to this, or should they continue implementing, that is, harsh measures that will affect its interrelationship with other countries, and also should it take responsibility of what is happening that in its country? And now that is page 7. They say that Kenyans face hostility after Suluhu's remarks, and several Kenyans living in Tanzania are told the Standard that they have experienced monitoring, intimidation, and in some cases detention without any cause. Is this fair? And what do the Kenyan government have to say about this? Because it really does, it doesn't sound like a good thing. And a Kenyan researcher based in Arusha who requested anonymity for fear of reprisal recounted being arrested and detained for 5 hours at the Bahati police station region despite holding valid immigration documents. Can you say they are assuming that some Kenyans have influenced, that is what is happening there, because of what happened last year, because of the Gen Z mandamano? But do you think that is really a genuine reason to blame innocent people? Also, there's a sentiment here from a Kenyan in Tanzania, and sadly this is what alisema: I've stayed indoors because if the authorities find out you're a foreigner, especially a Kenyan, you risk being brutalized. So, maoni yako kama mwananchi wa Kenya, with what is happening to our brothers and sisters who are not in Kenya, what do you think about that? Is it fair, or should the government in Tanzania own its own mistake? Please get to talk to us on 0799 200 100, and I'll be so glad to hear from you as a Kenyan citizen. And now let's dive into other stories back home, because tumongele Tanzania. Now let's talk about matters that affects you as a Kenyan citizen, matters that you understand in details. And now, when it comes to the education sector, page 1 of the Daily Nation, ilikuwa nimewambia tutaangalia that is education, legal and crime, and then tutaangalia that is matters to do with the economy. And now let me start with the education, because this is something that has been on the spotlight, for the last 2 months, because of the strike that has been ongoing on from, that is the lecturers themselves. And yesterday nilikuwa ningia the second month because they've been on strike, and that is yesterday tuliona a statement, no, I think on Monday, a statement that was released by Julius Ugamba, that he's the CS of education, and he said that the government is unable to pay arrears to the lecturers, and now they introduced that thing unless they're given time to pay in 2 phases, that is in 2 installments. And now page 1 of the Daily Nation, they say that it's now up to the state to end varsity strike. Education, there is a glimmer of hope for a breakthrough, which sounds like a good thing, especially to the university students. A breakthrough in the 2-month-long lecturer strikes after University Academic Staff Union, that is WASU, signaled willingness to consider a government proposal for phased payments, that is for phased payment of their 7.9 billion salary arrears. This sounds like a good thing, yeah. The story is on page 7. Let's check it out, because unajua kumekuwa na they're saying that the government has not been fulfilling their promises when it comes to payment. And according to them, they said the only language that the government understands is strike. Could that be true? Because after 2 months, the government is acting up now. And if they had this plan, why couldn't they have implemented it? That is the first month. So even wanafunzi wangekuwa shule wanasoma, but the students are in their rooms. Hostels wamekaa tu. And I'm in on page 6. And on page 6, I can see they're saying why, I mean page 7, sorry, I'm on page 7. The story is on page 7. And they say that university lecturers signal a willingness to end the strike, which sounds like a good thing. And the lecturers union, which has demanded one-off settlement of the salary dues, now says it's open to a two-phased payment. And Lina Jana, that is the leader of WASO, alikuwa anasema that for that is 2 installments. This time they give them 80. The next time we're back in a 20 for the next phase, they give them that is the remaining 20%. That is according to the WASO. We're to see if that will happen. And again, they added that the union expects an apology from the Ministry of Education for previously dismissing its claim figures as confused, and they call it, and noting that the amount is now being verified to be accurate. Do you think that's worth for them to get an apology from the Ministry of the Education? Because according to them, they feel like, yes, we demand an apology. At first you had dismissed these figures claiming that it's not true, but now everything has been verified and it's true. They owe them that is 7.9 billion salary arrears. And they said, as I've mentioned, they said that the worst that we can accept is 80-20. Let the government pay 80%. Now, that is about let's say 5 billion. Yeah, that's about 5 billion. And the remaining 20% in the 2026-2027 financial year. However, they're ready to sit down, talk. Let's see if the government will agree to their terms, because you know the situations have been worsening. The people that are affected are the public university students, parents who already struggled with fees, and the university calendars, and those who are graduating. This is something that has been affected. But when you only join campus, they have not read a lot, even they had not covered a lot of things. So also interrupted exams. And then don't forget that you've seen on social media students saying that they're losing that is academic momentum and morale. So you know, the future is the future of thousands of students is on pause, and the negotiation tables needs urgency, because the education delayed, let's say it's an opportunity lost, right? So let's see what will happen. I hope by the end of today they will sit down, talk about it, and get a conclusion and a solution. All this is going to work, because I can see also here they say that once when the Ministry of Education are expected to meet in the coming days to agree on a return to work formula that could pave the way for reopening of public universities across the country. And we want to hear from you as a Kenyan citizen. Probably you're a student in the university. What do you think about this? What has been happening, the lecturer strike, that it has taken 2 months and now the government is acting up now? Do you feel like if the government really wanted to act, they could have acted? That is a long time ago. And also, don't forget, walikuwa may release that is their budget in June. Could you say they ignored this? Because these are the budget that they're supposed to consider when they're releasing the financial year, that is the 2025-2026. What do you think about that? Talk to us on 0799-200-100, and we'll be so glad to hear from you as a Kenyan citizen. maoni yako ni yapi? And now let's shift our focus on to other stories and talking about corruption. Corruption in Kenya continues to be a major drain on public resources. I know you can agree with me. And according to Transparency International report that was released, Kenya ranks among top 30 most corrupt countries globally, with corruption costing the country an estimated that is 608 billion every year. That is nearly 1/3 of the national budget. And interestingly, that is page 1 of the highlights. The Auditor General report reveals yet another layer of this problem: a cartel inside the government payroll system. Let's check it out. That is page 1 of the highlights. And they call it the Public Service Auditor General has flagged counties for retaining staff over retirement age, and how payroll cartel is milking Kenyans. Talking about milking Kenyans, basically, we're not talking about milk, we're talking about money. And they call it employment fraud. There are a lot of things that they have mentioned. The Auditor General has exposed a lot of things and how the fraud works. And they call it, kumekuwa mentioned, that is ghost workers, names on payrolls, but no actual person working. So where is this money going? And yet we're complaining that hatuna pesa ya kulipa walimu. And then people past retirement age still earning salary. Then we have fake academic qualifications used to secure jobs. And then we have that is some individuals earning multiple salaries from different counties. So what can we say about this? Because they say that job group manipulation are some of the ways through which rogue public servants and managers are siphoning billions of taxpayers' money every year. Public Service Cabinet Secretary, that is Geoffrey Ruku, yesterday said hundreds of civil servants are under investigation of rampant malpractices. So you know the people that are involved here, obviously the county payroll officers, you have the HR managers, rural county executives, and individuals inside that is finance department. So this money that is lost each and every year could be used to pay, that is teachers, county health workers, bursaries for students, and hospital supplies. And obviously this impact lies heavily on the common mwananchi, because high taxes because of the government government keeps borrowing to replace that is stolen money. Tunaenda tunaomba, tuna replace pesa yenye imepotea. Yet it's not that we don't have money in our country, it's because of this disease that we call corruption. And then poor public services. We saw some of the hospitals a few months ago. A hospital like PGH in Nakuru having expired medicines, not having enough facilities, and this is affecting the common mwananchi. Poor public services, no medicines, poor roads, no bursary funds, and then counties remains underdeveloped. Yet we talk about devolution each and every day, and despite the billions being received. So the question is, will the government act on these reports, or will it become another corruption case that ends in silence? So let's head over to page 4 and 5 and see what the Auditor General said about this and some of the reports that have been released. And now we are on page 4 and 5. And I see here there are people, yeah, and we have that is the Public Service CS Akwapa, that is Geoffrey Ruku, and other people who I believe they are working in the public service. And they say that this is what Geoffrey Ruku said. We have reports that some civil servants are earning double allowances, while others have been exempted from paying taxes. Yet, you as a common mwananchi, if you don't pay the taxes, you're in trouble. Is that true? And this cost the government billions of shillings yesterday, billions of shillings every day. And we can say that even this is costing the government, because at the end of the day, we are the government. The government is of the people and by the people. However, at the end of the day, you as a Kenyan citizen, you will end up paying higher taxes to finance this stolen money, to finance the gap that was left, because someone else is earning double. Someone else in the country is exempted from paying the taxes. And that is page 5 of the Daily Nation. You can see there is, at a glance, there is a policy that they have violated here. And they say what the Public Service HR Manual says. The Public Service Commission Human Resource Policies and Procedures Manual, that is in 2016, sets mandatory retirement at the age of 60. But from the report that has been released by the Auditor General, there are people who are exceeding that age 60 and they're earning, whether they are retired or not, but wanaendelea kuearn. The law followed a circular law that is March 20th, 2009, which increased the retirement age from 55 to 60 years, except for pastoral chief executives. An exemption is also provided for persons living with disabilities to exit at 65 years or as prescribed by the government. So for a normal person living without disability, you're supposed to retire at 60 years. But for a person living with disabilities, that is 65 years, extended to 65 years. Another Public Service Commission regulations of 2020 also state that the mandatory retirement age in the public sector shall be 60 years. Lecturers and research scientists serving in the public universities are, however, exempted. So from this report that has been released, I would really want to hear what the government has to say about this, because the Auditor General has been doing, let's call it a good job, yeah, releasing reports, good schools and everything, but it has to do with corruption. But from all the general reports zenye ame release, have you seen the government acting on it? Let's talk about the Ministry of Education. Hakuna pesa za kulipa lecturers, okay? They have not been paid since mpaka sahi, and now is the time now they're sitting down the table to talk. If the money lenye ilipotea kwa ghost schools, ghost students receiving bursaries yet they're not in schools, if all this money could be gathered together, collected, could it not pay the lecturers? Could it not bring development in our country? So I hope the government will act on it. Something that we're looking forward to seeing happening. And now, away from that, matters to do with the counties, devolution and development. Page 1 of the Daily Nation. The counties are said to receive that is 70 billion boosts after the MP's deal. And now the government, what really happened is the national government has agreed to release that is 70 billion, an extra funding to counties, not the money that was in the 2025-2026. This is something extra that they have sat down and discussed. It will be like a supplementary budget, let's call it that. And the reason is because counties are facing a lot of challenges, and wanasema the money that they are given is not enough. Kumekuwa na salary delays for public workers, stalled development projects, shutdown of essential county services. And you know, the impact is county workers may finally receive delayed salaries, hospitals and county development projects can restart. And then we have that is improved service delivery. And let's head over to page 20. This story is on page 20. Let's check it out. I'm on page 20 of the Daily Nation. And they say that reprieve for counties as MPs and senators sit. Seal funds a deal, and they say counties have won a reprieve after MPs and senators stuck a long-awaited deal to unlock 70.6 billion in additional allocations, ending months of wrangling between the two houses over conditional and unconditional grants. At least we can see now a good thing is happening. The Senate and the MPs, unajua wamekuwa na indifference, especially when it comes to matters with the finance and grants. But at least now they've sat down and they've negotiated, and the agreement clears way for the release of the funds to all, that is 47 devolved units for the 2025-2026 financial year, allowing stalled projects to resume, easing pressure on county governments struggling to meet development obligation. So this is a breakthrough that has happened after negotiation and followed weeks of tense negotiations and political brinksmanship, with senators initially pushing for, that is 93.5 billion, while MPs insisted on capping the amount that is 70.6 billion, and the main sticking point was the disputed, that is 23.64 billion roads maintenance levy, which remains before the court for determination or whether it should be managed by counties or the national government. This is something that they're still negotiating on, and this is a good thing. And calling it a good thing, the question still remains, the money will be released, but let's talk about accountability, management of these funds, on how it will be used, because the money imekuwa, we've seen the devolved units imekuwa zikipokea pesa, but has this money being used the way it's supposed to be used, or will corruption be taking control and lead on how we've been seeing it happening when it comes to some of the sectors like the health sector? So I hope there will be that there will be the issue of accountability and transparency on how they're going to use this money, so that at least hii pesa tulipatiwa tufanyie hivi na hivi, this is how we have used it, this is how we have done with that money. I hope that's something that will be implemented, and I can see they mention a lot of things. Mention kutakuwa na, that is urban infrastructure, then kutakuwa na development in some counties, payment of workers who work in the government. Yeah, so that is matters to do with the county governments and the devolved units. And as we wind up, let's talk about stories that have to do with, that is human interest and people. That is page 1 of the Daily Nation. There is a highlight here that I'm going to read, and you know, in Marakwet there is a mudslide that happened, and 34 bodies have been retreated and 17 bodies are still missing. But the good thing is you've seen the government wamekuwa akiwasaidia, and here I can see it's still on they have mentioned the same thing, that is page 1, landslides is such, the search for the missing people is still on. And the West Pokot governor, that is Kachapin, and his Elgeyo Marakwet counterpart Wesley Rotich joined the public during the search for the bodies at Murkweto in Kerio Valley and Elgeyo Marakwet County yesterday, while government has put on the death toll at 32 and other people are still missing. So we've seen the Red Cross wamekuwa wakiwasaidia. We can say this is a good thing, and condolences. We can say also condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones, and I hope watapatikana. They're so glad that the government is helping them, because don't forget, the government had set aside, that is money to help these people. And the money that is last year, there's money that was set aside for emergency cases when it comes to matters to do with rain, mudslides and everything. I hope itatumika jinsi ipasavyo. And well, that is what we had to check today when it comes to the Daily Nation and Standard. I've not checked the whole stories. I've just picked a few stories that have been shaping our nation. When you take the Standard, there are many stories, so make sure that you get to grab that is a copy of the Daily Nation of the Standard and check out what has been shaping that is in what has been shaping that is our country. Thank you so much for tuning in for this segment that is the current affairs. We're always here to make sure that you as a Kenyan citizen, you stay updated of what is happening that is in our country and beyond. I can't forget to mention that Mizpah House of Prayer will be having that is the annual prophetic prayer congress that will be happening this coming month, that is this December, that is from the 1st to the 5th, and we'll be having that is great servants, a great and powerful servants of God. Make sure that you tell a friend, share this information on your social media handles, that is on Facebook, on Instagram, on Facebook, on your WhatsApp status. Please prepare yourself, because I know there's something that God has prepared that is for you and for me. It is an interdenominational meeting, meaning it is open to all. However, please purpose to attend, and for more information you can contact 07277 66553. My name is Angela Kabete, and I had an amazing time interacting and engaging with you. Make sure that you get to drop a comment there on YouTube or Facebook to ambie on everything that you've discussed: economy, politics, health, education. Moni yako ni happy. We're so glad to hear from you. Till next time, God bless you abundantly. Have a productive day ahead. Bye bye.